tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I think I'm a very goal-oriented person. I'm very passionate about music, in particular singing, because I'm a worshiper. Um, I am a mother to two beautiful daughters, and of course, I'm married. Um, and I'm a teacher. Um, I have three sisters and a brother. And so I'm the oldest, so I enjoy that role as being the older sister. I get to kind of tell them what to do. I've been doing that for a long time, so I do consider myself as being a leader, not just to my family, but also in other avenues such as work and ministry. Um, I like to laugh and joke around, and but I don't like to get too carried away, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, okay, we laugh a little bit, let's get back to business. I'm one of them kind of people like that. And I like to help. I like to help, and I love to encourage people to do what I believe is our purpose, and that is making a difference in someone else's life. So I encourage others to do so.
And I am 39 years old. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a brother-in-law. Just say I'm a family member at this point because I don't want to name all the roles I feel. Well, I do want to say I'm a husband to my lovely wife. I love music, singing, playing the keyboard. I'm a preacher. Love preaching the gospel, reading the Word of God, and trying my best to be a vessel. I believe I'm compassionate. I'm a good listener, and in my free time, I like playing games. Favorite superhero is Spider-Man. Nobody can whoop him. Not Batman, not Superman. Nobody. Okay. But seriously, I love my kids. I love my family, and I really just try to take every day. I'm really laid back. I really just try to enjoy life and take life one day at a time, and appreciate every day that I have.
I like it. How long have y'all been married? But before you answer that, how did y'all meet?
You want to go first?
Sure. We met in college. We were in a Spanish class together. And I remember we were at Mississippi State. And the first day we were in a smaller room. It was very congested. I remember Angel. I didn't know she was going to be my wife. I'm just saying my wife now. But Angel came into the room. I remember her coming in. I won't forget it. I saw her coming into the room. I didn't look at her and say, that's my wife. I just, how people be saying, oh, that's my wife. But I did look at her and noticed her walk in the room and because she was late. I was late too. So I ain't trying to front on her. I was late too. And I saw her and I was intrigued. And what? You don't think I was intrigued? I thought it was something different about you. But anyway, you walked into the room. Found your way, and but when we got moved to the other room, the next, how first beginning weeks of school, people are getting settled. We got into a bigger, much larger space, and wouldn't you know, she was sitting right next to me. Now, when she tells the story, we'll hear how she says it, but so from there we kind of started getting to know each other, starting, studying, and I'm very brief when I talk, so I go kind of, A, B, C, D. So for me, we started studying, and we went, one thing led to another, and here we are, almost 16 years later. See, yeah, that's the short version of it. You want to fill in the gaps?
You went from B to Z. Yeah, man, at Mississippi State, I agree with everything. I follow you in the room. I remember that. I remember, actually, I can't remember, that first day real well. I remember going in there and trying to hurry up, find a seat. To find a seat, there was so many people, it was congested. But I do believe I saw you that day. I do believe I saw you sitting in the corner. Like, I do believe that. But I do know I intentionally did sit by you and when we were in the big room. Because, once again, I was late coming in. And there was a seat next to you. And I was like, And I looked and I said, oh, he's kind of nice looking. No one's sitting next to him. And it's right by the door. I can shoot right out the classroom when it's time to go. And so I sat by you. I was kind of shy. I left a seat. Because, we had those seats that turn. And so I left one vacant, so I wouldn't just be all up on them. Yeah. And so, and I agree. We did. We started studying and together talking and whatever. Both of us were quiet. So at times, you could kind of figure out how the conversation would go or whatever. But we just connected. We connected and we still had friends and stuff for a while, but then it was like, hey, we gonna make this thing official. And so we ended up moving to the coast and getting married. And the rest is history. And like you asked us, how long have we been together? It'll be 16 years.
Well, actually, if you count the courtship.
Oh, okay. Okay.
About, 17?
No, it'll be about 18. Yeah, because if we're going on 16, then we...
About 18.
But, Lord, that's a long time. Yes. God is good.
Okay, you mentioned living in the South where you didn't say you live in the South. You said that you moved to the coast, which is in the South. How has living in the South, this is for you, Angel, how has living in the South as a black woman affected you, your life and career? Or has it even affected you?
Well, I first would like to say that living in the South, just in Mississippi, we're not even talking about, the United States, but just Mississippi, I know the way we articulate things is quite different when you go up north a little bit in Mississippi. So we went to Mississippi State, and then I was seeing so many people, and the way they kind of articulate things was quite different at times. And also just the culture was different. I went to a high school that was predominantly black. And so, I think football is part of every high school. Everybody loves football or whatever. So, football was a big thing. Of course, your education and things of that sort was was a priority, a top priority that was for our family, for many families, going off to college and things of that nature. But I noticed that a lot, when I went off to college, I seen some of my peers who were maybe Caucasian. I felt that they were a little bit more prepared in a sense when they went off to school. Not just when it comes down to education, but I think just prepared of how to govern themselves when they went to college, and certain things were taught to them, differently. Being a black young female in my family, it was stressed that do your best. You want to go to college. You want that, but you was praying that you could get all the financial aid that you could get, because I grew up where my family is, like I mentioned earlier, there's 5 of us children. And so my parents were trying to provide and we didn't have a whole bunch of generational wealth, and so was so excited to get to college, and maybe I got a car that wasn't just in the best of condition, and maybe some of my other peers who may been of another race or whatever, their worries weren't so much per se what I was dealing with if they had generational wealth. You understand what I'm saying? Because their mothers and fathers and grandparents and all that, of course they weren't first generational college students. So I did notice a difference there when I went off to college. And also, I think the eagerness to know what you wanted to major in. I noticed with my peers being that my first year, you were trying to figure out what you want. Most students do that, but I think that because maybe we weren't informed a lot about the different majors other than like the common ones, like maybe psychology, business, and things of that like that. But as a black woman, hearing, go into engineering or something like that, that wasn't really common. And so maybe my other peers who were of another nationality, they have heard of that. They knew more information about that. It wasn't so foreign to them. So I did see a difference like that culturally when it came down to maybe educational wise. But I think you just went as me, I just went in like, hey, I got to represent for my family. I want my family to be proud of me. I want to make a difference. And my mom went to college. So she instilled, hey, let's do your best. Let's go. And so that's why what I did financially, I may not have exactly what I wanted or needed, but I did have the will. And so as a black girl, I went on to that college where I saw at Mississippi State, there were more whites and other nationalities than blacks there at that. But I didn't really let it affect me that much to the point where I felt like a little isolated or felt like I couldn't do what others were doing. I felt like, hey, if I put my best foot forward, I can do this, despite maybe not being fully prepared and educationally as I would like to be, or maybe not having the financial means that I would like to. But for me, I didn't really let it affect me mentally or physically. I just went in and as I can do what you do, and I probably can do it better. And you got that mindset, you can go somewhere. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Alex, so the question for you is the same thing. How has living in the South as a black man affected you, or has it even affected you?
Well, I say initially when I was in school, I didn't really think about it as much, I guess because I was younger, but in hindsight, I guess how the scripture says, knowledge increases sorrow. It's like it's always been there, but you just weren't aware of it. And I look back at school and how we had like kind of a good mix of black and white students, and even Indian, like, and somebody was from Honduras. And we had a couple little cultural mix. I think it was predominantly white, if I'm honest though, but it was kind of or a pretty close mix anyway. But in school, I guess I kind of was tunnel vision because I wasn't really. I was just trying to make it, through school, trying to make something out of myself. I was so focused on make something out of my life, I wasn't even conscious of I ain't gonna say I wasn't conscious because we all knew that there was maybe perhaps white students that didn't want to go to our school. They would go to there was another school, a private school. It's still like that now, but they would go there and maybe you only see one black person, But I'm sorry. But I'm just being honest, and that dynamic still exists today. But as I got older and I was in the workforce, and again, in my 20s working in construction, you see things, and again, all I focused on is doing my best, and not sometimes realizing that dynamic is always there. Like even if you're not aware of it, you just working hard, doing your best, and saying, "Hey, they're gonna see me just like they see buddy over here working." You know what I mean? It's gonna be the same thing, but it's not. It's just you just gotta be honest. It's not. It's even matter of fact, he can be watching you work and they're like, yeah, that's gonna be your supervisor. Like, wow, like what just happened? But you don't really think about it if you just, it's like if you're not prepared for that, your mind isn't prepared for that. So I went in kind of blindsided, just really just trying to be the best that I can be. You'll say that's good, but it's I kind of think you got to also be aware of that. This is there as well, the disproportionality and the being overlooked and all. You have to be aware of it so that you do things to make yourself stand out more, other than working hard. It's sad to say that, but other than working hard and doing what you're supposed to do, really putting yourself out there, because you seem like it's got to be a little more extra, other than just, working hard and doing your best. That's not, it's sad to say it like that, but that's how I realize now that it takes a little bit, more, and being aware of that dynamic. I had to grow and know that, and it's sad, to just because, race, I got to be conscious of it. It's sad I have to be conscious of it. If not, then I'll just be going through and not really realizing, or not being, or not doing what I need to do, or not making the connections, or not talking to, or connecting with the people that I need to connect with in order to make that next step, other than, doing the same. We can be doing the exact same, job. And again, I can't say for 100% certain that, that it happened to me, that I was overlooked, or simply because I'm a quiet guy by nature. So maybe just because I'm quiet, but then what if it's coupled with the fact that, hey, you're a quiet black guy as well, so, that's even more reason, but it shouldn't be, but, in our reality, it's my reality, and I just have to learn to navigate it. I guess it's just as well as if you're born not having to worry about that, hey, I'm white and I'll never have to worry about that. That's your reality. You can't condemn that, that they didn't ask to be born white. That's their reality. I don't have to ever worry about being looked over because I'm white. I might get looked over because I'm lazy, or I might get looked over because of my bad work ethic, but it won't just be because I'm white, because that's just not something you have to worry about. And for the most part, I'll say there may be always some exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, you won't have to worry about that. And that's been my experience in the South. Is really having to learn it through experience rather than. And I think it's always better, and that's why I try to tell my children to be aware of, not to let it control them, not to say I can't, I can't do it, the system is corrupt. No, you still wake up, you still say, I'm going to go forward, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have, Kamala Harris. If that was the case, we wouldn't have the Supreme Court Justice, I don't want to mess her name up, Ketanji.
I think that's how you say
Jackson. y'all hear me, but if that was the case, they wouldn't have woke up and said, I can still do it, even despite Because now they got, if you want to look at it that way, they got black, woman, you know, they got all, you know what I'm saying? They got extra, you know what I'm saying? They, race and gender, and so if you want to look at it in that, you still wake up and say, I can do it, as my wife say, I can do it, and I can do it better, you know. So that mentality has to be, I can do it, and I can do it just as well or even better. So I hear you.
How has living in the South as a black married couple affected you?
Well, I have I can remember several times, my husband and I going into maybe just like a grocery store, and it is just common for maybe my husband to hold the door for the, the person that's coming behind us, especially if it's a woman or whatever. And I remember when I was younger, I didn't pay it that much attention, but as I got older, I would notice that when we would he would hold the door sometimes, maybe for maybe a Caucasian woman, and it was just like, okay, like, this is what you're supposed to do. A lot of times I didn't hear a thank you or a nod or anything. And I remember I started just observing, because I observed things, and we would go somewhere else, and maybe you're going into the bank or something, and it was almost as a lot of times the Caucasian women, I'm just saying in the South, kind of expected this as a courtesy, as you hold the door for me, but yet they did not reciprocate their thanks. And so I said, I didn't like that. I didn't like that, and then if it was a black woman or whatever, I would notice that they would say thank you or whatever. So I remember, I don't know if you remember this, I mentioned this to you we were in Pascagoula, I believe, about it. And I said, don't hold the door. Like I was to the point, was like, it's like, they would even sometimes come like if they're about to go in the store, as if I know you're going to hold the door for me. I said, I wonder, is this a Southern thing? Like, it's just understood. You hold the door for me, and I don't say thank you. This is what you're supposed to do. So I remember I was like, I don't want him to do that, but I thought about it a little longer, and I was like, that's probably not the nicest thing to do. You're doing something right. Hold the door, whatever. But I did observe that, and I did observe a lot of times when my husband and I would go into certain places that were deemed to be more sophisticated or whatever. If we walked in, if we wasn't dressed a certain, I remember several times in Biloxi, if we went somewhere and kind of the head turn, well, you're not dressed, or did you mean to come here? Certain restaurants is just like that now. You just, did you mean to go here? It's not an all white or all black, but it's almost, as if it is, because the heads get to turning and looking, especially if you don't know what you're going. I remember in Jackson when we went to, not too long ago, to a restaurant, and people were looking at us because we weren't just dressed as, I guess you say, all business attire, because we were just stopping by. I mean, and I remember the heads got, I was like, what in the world? I was like, what is going on? My kids started was looking at, was like, why are they looking at us like this? Or whatever. And I was like, we can eat here too. I'm telling them, I said, don't worry about it. We don't have to be dressed a certain way or look, like a certain way or whatever. So that stigma is still here in the South, I believe, where, and I noticed it with older women, they expect certain things. They expect you to hold the door. They may not say thank you, or they'll turn their head if they see you coming in a place and you may not be dressed like, the certain attire that everyone, they kind of still turn their head or they'll look. Or if you're coming into the restaurant in Jackson with kids and everybody dressed all business-wise, and most of them were Caucasian, and we were like the only black family and another black lady that was there, and it was so awkward because the way they were looking, like, did you mean to come here? Do you want to go back out? And I was like, I'm not going to make. I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to allow myself to feel like this. I can eat wherever I want to eat. I don't have to dress like this, and all this, So I do believe, I don't know, it may not just be in the South. It may be just universal. But I do know when they see, when I don't want to say they, but I want to say that it is sometimes seen as a married couples having black children, because or whatever. Sometimes they expect the children to behave a certain kind of way. Let me try to specify this. As if like our culture, we like music. We like sometimes play our music loud. We like to dress, shoes. Jordans. We gonna be decked out. Just normally how you gonna see most African American teenagers dressed a certain kind of way. And you get that stigma as if that's all you care about is music, shoes, that. You get what I'm saying? But sometimes when they see kids excelling and also having that sense of style, it's kind of hard for them to understand because they have this, look as if, hey, say for instance in Hattiesburg, if you go to Hattiesburg High, it's predominantly black. And we just left a board meeting where it was so many kids had scored so high, like on their state tests and 5 perfect scores. Well, a lot of times you don't see that out there. What do you see in Hattiesburg is somebody robbed, you know what I'm saying? And it's a black person, or the school, somebody got kicked out. It's the story. It's a narrative about African Americans in certain areas where people feel like that's all they have to give, or that's what they, And sometimes that becomes what kids just hold on to. That's what they think. Oh, well, I got to be like this. And they don't see really the whole picture. And that's why I encourage my kids, you can have style, you can like George, you can like this, but also you can be smart and not be ashamed to be smart. And I want to promote it, and I think that we should promote it more, especially when you have a family, mother and father there with their kids, to encourage their kids. Don't be ashamed that you're African American. You can do the same thing someone else doing. You may not go to the school that has all the latest and the necessary resources, but use what you have, and make a difference. And then as the community and as parents, we should be promoting our kids. Hey, once they accomplish this, put that out there. Put that on Facebook. Put that out there for the community to see. We're not exactly what some may believe or the narrative that is out there. So, heads get turned, but I say I'm going to turn the heads, and I tell my kids, turn the heads for the right reason. Turn the heads for the right reason. So.
Oh, man. I think you covered all the bases. I think I would just add that just coming up that you said, being married, just teaching my children mindfulness and of it, and not allowing it to limit them. Just being mindful of it and not letting it place limits on what they can do or what they can achieve. And as you were saying about the children at the board meeting, how that needs to be highlighted and emphasized, and how important just having the right narrative. I celebrate them when they do well. I encourage them. I praise them. Speak life into them and let them know that yes, this is there. Yes, there are things there. Things that you have to. There's opposition. There's things that you have to deal with. But
say that you have the power. I would like if I could end on this. And by being a Christian, we promote love, and the whole thing is you want to recognize the challenges that you may have as an African American, male or female. But then you also, like my husband said, you want to recognize, you want to be wise, you need to learn how to navigate yourself. as you're talking about your career. You're talking about as being a husband and wife, how to go, like even when you're looking for homes, making sure you're getting the best deals, making, it's a lot of stuff, but you can't go around just being fearful, you know what I'm saying? But you got to understand that you have the power. The power is, if you see that this is going on, we're no longer sitting, and I don't want to use this we're not longer sitting on the power that we have. We're using it. We're utilizing it. If they are not friendly, you coming in a store and they're falling behind you because they feel. And when I say they, we were talking about maybe other, not just white, any other nationality or whatever. I have the power to leave that store and not patronize. And then if I need to tell someone else, I need to let them know. Like, we don't have to have one grocery store as back in the day, it was. But we still want to promote love. Love means I love my neighbor, but I don't have to patronize it. Baby, it's a Food Mark, it's a Walmart, it's a J&R, and it's a somebody else grocery store here, right? And if two of these grocery stores, when I go in, they're looking at me, or if they, I feel like uncomfortable, I don't have to go there, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have to shop at certain places. I don't have to go to certain outings, like your kids going to certain ways, places or whatever. So, but love, God wants us to love, but I do not think he wants us to be ignorant of, what's going on. So I think utilize the power that you have. Teach your kids. If you see that this is going on, you're feeling, hey, I feel that they're being racist. I can speak up on it. I got to say this much. A Supreme Court judge that was just nominated, her speech, she was not ashamed to say what and who she is. I mean, I'm an African-American woman. She talked about the challenges, because a lot of times we feel like, oh, I don't want to say nothing. They feel like, we're always saying we're coming up the mountain for, or something of that nature. But don't be ashamed. It's because those people before us paved the way. So yes, I had to do this and I had to do this. I had to do this to get to where I am. But also she demonstrated love that she had for the United States, for America, right? You understand what I'm saying? Even though America has not been so nice to African Americans, if you understand what I'm saying. But yet she showed love. So use your power, show love, and I believe throughout the challenges that God will make a way for you if you do your best at what you're trying to do.
Are there any words you would like to leave for young Black couples?
I would like to just say, especially if I could just talk to if I could talk to my younger self, I think I would help younger couples. It's the same thing I would say to younger me, is keep a positive mental attitude about everything. Just keep a positive, your mental, because that's all it is really, because you have to bear everything that, the pressures of, I remember the pressures of being in a new marriage, and then ours moved quick. We had a child, and I say, planning is great. Planning is great. Taking your time and knowing what you want. Compatibility is really, it's really a thing. Really something to take time out and say, are we gonna really, our religious views, how many kids do we want to have? This stuff, these are all those things, all that great stuff. Be able to have those hard talks before, making that, you said they already married, so I guess they done had these hard talks, right? We're going to say they already had these hard talks. And any advice, just continue to keep your unique individuality, inside the marriage. Know what you like. Don't just become this, you're supposed to become one, but not so much where you lose yourself of who you are, your interests, your likes. You have to have that time for, yourself. And when you come together, it's a beautiful thing, because you have two different perspectives, and you're navigating this life together. You understand her pain, she understands your pains, and you're able to it gives you strength, because you know where you're coming from and you know where she's coming from. So draw strength from one another. Be each other's counselor. Be each other's best friend. Laugh. Enjoy your life. Be happy. Just be happy for no apparent reason. Not because you got the new house. Just be happy. Period. But just make a decision. I'm going to be happy. No matter who doesn't want me to be happy, or even in spite of the obstacles, the opposition, the challenges, the racism, the negativity. It's just something about a smile that vibrates all good energy towards you. Just a smile that'll bring everything that God has for you to you. And that mental attitude is going to bring the rest, because of your mental attitude saying, I can do it, I can overcome, I can keep going, I can push through. Those two things are so powerful. It's like a magnet, and you're vibrating that. You're bringing everything that God has for me. How are you smiling? I'm smiling because I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy because of the opportunity. I'm happy because, because when you're young, you got opportunity right in front of you. You got goals, you got dreams, and your things that you're chasing. You keep those in the forefront of your mind, as opposed to what's not happening, in spite of what didn't happen, or what should have happened, or what could have happened, or what they did. I keep my mental, my brain muscle so strong that I won't let all the negative aspects keep me from being positive and focusing on the good. Focus on the good. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, I would like to add to this. That was nice.
Oh, and God is good, too.
Okay. What would I leave some encouragement to black couples? I would say for us to, I would like to say that promoting black love is awesome. We don't see a lot of times black love promoted like really on TV a lot. We don't see it in magazines a lot. And I think that we as African Americans have to be the one to start promoting it. And that's in your home, introducing your kids or to couples who are, succeeding, who are in love, being in love, that you can have a family, you can stay together, things of that nature like that. And love the culture, love our culture. That's what makes us so unique. Don't become too obsessed with the challenges that we face as being African Americans. Sometimes we can become so obsessed with it that we stop and we get deterred because of the challenges. So I would tell couples to definitely be aware of what you're going into. If you're going to buy a home, talk to others. I'm not talking about things such as your interest. Rate and all that. That's personal. You may not get the same rate as somebody else because of your credit score. But I'm saying like the red lining and things of that, like things of that such, or if I'm being offered a position and they said it's going to be $89,000 a year, and my white counterpart is getting way more than that. Well, you have to talk. You have to, as a couple, you have to understand, hey, this could be a actual situation that can occur. So what are the strategies that we're going to use? What are we going to do if we find out that happened? Are we just going to sit and take it? Or, what are we going to do? So educate yourself. Promote black love. Love yourself. Teach your children to love being black. Black is cool. Black is dope.